Good day, I am Rica May Fernandez and I am going to report the element 2, which is Undertake Escort duties. At the end of my report, my classmates should be able to identify route to be taken, assess potential threats for the individual, obtain assistance if required, perform close escort duties, possible response of the threats, completion of relevant documents. Identify road to be taken. All escort assignments should take place along the identified road. This section identifies factors to consider when identifying such a road. Escort duties may be accompanying valuable items which are being carried by others. Ito yung mga mahahalagang bagay na dala ng mga tao, kaya kailangan nila ng escort kasi need nila ng protection para maiwasan yung theft and other situation na mangyayari. Providing an escort service to an individuals or group of individuals. Both duties involve providing a deterrent and providing a protection. Sila yung nagpro-provide ng protection sa mga guests or mga client na kailangan ng mga escort, kaya kailangan nila ng escort. Sila din yung nagpro-provide ng protection sa mga tao if ever na may mga pwedeng mangyari sa kanila, like unpredictable situation na mangyayari. There are two roads that you need to develop. That is primary and secondary roads. This standard procedure is to develop a primary road for all escort duties and assignment. Develop at least one secondary route for every escort duties or assignment, and include route direction which assignment instruction. Primary route is your preferred route for an escort based on all relevant factors and taken into account all associated details and requirements. It will be the route which is deemed to be safest and the most secure. Ito yung pinaka-safe at most secure na route na pwede mong daanan for your destination. The route will be developed to show starting point, path or road to be taken divided into sector, fleet points, check-in points, where radio contacts with the control room is required, and the end point. The secondary road, ito yung plan B. Secondary road is your plan B should be the primary road to be compromised to become unavailable, unable and or unsafe. Ito yung plan B, ito yung pangalawang road na pwede mong daanan if ever na yung primary road at ay hindi available or unsafe for your client. The secondary road should show entry points from the primary road into the secondary road, path road to be taken, one of the following, where the secondary road rejoins the primary road, and also alternative road to completion of assignment. Generic prerequisites. Before a road is confirmed as being either a primary or secondary road, it is advisable to conduct test practice runs using the identified road. Dapat nagkakandak ka ng test for the if ever kung saang road yon, dapat alamin mo kung safe ba yon at kung walang risk na mangyayari doon. This should be conducted at the time of the day the real escort is required. Dapat every time nagkakandak ka ng practice sa ruta na yon. Use the same staff as will be employed for the actual assignment. Dapat same staff lang din and same employed na escort ang nandun. Kasi if ever na magpapalit ka ng escort, papalitan yun, magkakaroon ng conflict na hindi niya alam yung plan or yung kinandak mong practices na by time to time, hindi niya alam yung nangyayari. Pagdadaan kayo sa ruta na yun, di nyo pala alam na dun a-attack yung attackers at yung safety ng client mo, hindi mo masisigurado. Feature use actors to simulate the person or persons being escorted and also duplicate as closely as possible the actual condition which will apply to the escort. Time progressed through each sector of the route and the overall escort assignment. Include simulated events in the test practice run to reflect situation or threats which had been identified as being likely to occur. This may include crowd disturbance, media intervention, threats, and attacks. Dapat alam mo every events at alam mo mag-identify ng situation if ever sa crowd disturbance. Kasi sa crowd disturbance, sa sobrang dami ng tao, dun magkakaroon ng opportunity yung mga attackers para umattack. Also, the media interaction. For example, for the politicians, madaming kakalap ng impormasyon, madaming mag-i-interview sa kanila at lahat ng media magiging triggered sila para kumalap ng impormasyon at gusto nilang makapag-interview for the politics. Kaya mag-uunahan sila at magkakaroon ng if ever magtutulakan. Kaya if ever yung client mo, need niya ng escort para magproprotekta sa kanya. And also the threats and attack for the important person if ever. For example, also the politics, the celebrities, may mga threats na silang natatanggap dahil sa mga kalaban nila, dahil sa mga bashers nila, and may possible na aatakin sila. Kaya need nila ng escort na makakasama for their safety. When looking at the route to be taken for an escort assignment, you should pay attention to the following. Determine the shortest route. Often the best route is the shortest route, but this is not allowed due to exposure and opportunity provided to attackers. Crowd and crash problem when the route moves through high traffic area. Dapat alamin mo kung ano yung pinaka iksing ruta or pinaka the best na ruta na dadaanan nyo para maiwasan yung exposure at maiwasan yung opportunity ng mga attackers para atakin yung client mo. Also, para maiwasan din yung crowd and crash problem. For example, the traffic areas. Because of the traffic areas, doon sila magkakaroon din ng opportunity para umattack. Kasi nga, na stuck sila doon dahil sa traffic. Kaya kailangan iwasan yun. Kaya dapat i-identify mo yung pinaka-shortest and pinaka-best na ruta for your destination. Determining quickest route. The quickest route is most commonly the route to take as it reduces exposure and opportunity, but this can be sometimes not be the route the person or persons being escorted want to take. Sometimes, the person being escorted wants a high-profile event involving crowd interaction, photo opportunities, and publicities. Dapat, gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, dapat alamin mo yung quickest route na dadaanan mo para ma-reduce nga yung exposure and opportunity ng mga attackers para umattack. Dahil sa karamihan sa mga ni-escortan, sila yung mga always na uma-attend ng mga meetings, seminars, ganon, crowd. Sila yung palaging exposure sa mga crowd interaction, photo opportunity, publicity. Dun din karamihan maraming media. Kaya need nila ng escort doon to protect them. Assessment of the weather expected at the time, and how it's likely to impact, like roads, activities, and threats. Kaya kailangan niya ng assessment para masigurado yung safety ng guest or client mo. Evaluation of the time of the day. The escort is required, which will have major impact on equipment required and route available. Dapat kailangan ni-evaluate mo time to time yung mga equipment mo and yung ruta, anong available. For example, the primary route. Dapat i-check mo yun kung safe ba, kung pwedeng dun kayo dadaan. O kung hindi man, may secondary route kayo. Yun yung plan B. Identification and analysis of relevant other issues such as day of the week, local event, celebration, sporting occasion, which may impact on access, road closure, stress on other security staff, authorities, and security system equipment and technology. In-house events such as seminar, conference, meetings, or function being conducted in the venue at the same time. Levels of expected trade and traffic, general environmental issues such as noise, lighting, temporary structure, and display obstructing normal routes and line of sight. Dapat alam mo mag-identify at analysis ng mga issues like yung mga events na nangyayari, mga celebration. Alam mong i-identify kung merong risk na mangyayari man or may mga situation na mangyayari na kailangan ng security and safety. Assess potential threats for the individual jobs. Each escort job must be assessed on an individual basis. This section explains the need for this assessment and discuss factors which need to be considered. Bakit nga kailangan natin ng assessment? Kailangan natin gawin. This assessment must be undertaken to and then identify, reduce, avoid, or eliminate threats and risks. This is all part of the formal risk management process kasi kailangan nating ma-identify at ma-avoid yung mga threats at risks na nangyayari. Kaya kailangan natin ng assessment. Determine appropriate responses to threats. Kailangan din nating alamin kung ano yung dapat na response natin sa mga threats. Kasi nga, hindi dapat respond ka na lang ng respond, hindi naman pala dapat yung tamang response. Dun baka yung respond na ginagawa mo, mas lalo mong natitrigger yung mga nagbibigay ng threats. Develop the most secure and effective course of action. Dapat mag-develop ka ng most secure at effective course ng action para sa safety ng iyong client. Involve relevant of others in the planning process. This may include person or persons to be escorted under representative, internal staff, and authorities. That is the example of the effective course of action or most secure plan. Discharge due diligence on duty of care obligations, provide a professional service, demonstrate value for the charge being leveled for the service provided. Of course, as a escort, kailangan mo maging professional. Kailangan professional yung mga service mo, professional yung mga action mo, hindi yung basta action ka na lang ng action na hindi naman dapat. Kailangan mong gumalaw as a professional. Factor to assess. This said, both contain an element of risk. This is always the potential people will want to steal an item, and there is always a potential offenders will want to attack kidnap a person. Kasi hindi mo naman alam kung kailan ka aatakin, kung kailan merong mangyayaring situation like kidnap or what. Kaya kailangan always ready. Providing escort to valuable items and providing escort to people are different activities. The fundamental difference is an item is inert and is an inanimate object, meaning like it will not argue with you, it will simply respond to whatever is done to you, it without disputing things. Items can be replaced, but leaves cannot. People who are to be escorted may question your tactics, propose, route, and of course an action may be unpredictable. In an instance, they can make a decision which completely destroy all plans, will proceed at different rates. The rate of travel varies between individuals, will respond to threats and attack in different ways. Some have been trained to immediately and unquestioningly follow direction, while others are shocked into disbelief and inaction. Generally speak, people generate different problems than items. For example, people may want to talk to the person being escorted. Members of the public may want autographs and photographs. The media may want interviews. Angry or disgruntled people may want to physical or verbally abuse the person. Ito yung hindi nila kailangan yung items na dala ng client mo. Kailangan nila yung tao mismo. For example, the people na gustong kumausap sa kanila. For example, the members of the public like the media or the people na gusto ng mga autographs and photographs. This is the media may want to interviews. Yung mga angry people na want ng physical or verbally abuse. Yun yung mga example ng need din ng escort. Hindi lang yung mga taong may mga valuable items na dala. Generic factors. When assessing threats for escorting duties, review all your internal intelligence. Contact local authorities for updates. Of course, kailangan mong mag-update always sa mga authorities kasi if ever man na may mangyayari, updated sila at magkakaroon sila ng information doon. Plan for the worst and hope for the best. Always adapt a worst case scenario. Dapat alam mo na kung ano yung worst na mangyayari para maplano mo din kung ano yung dapat at best action na gagawin mo. Eliminating a threat is better option than reducing the potential of the threat. Like restricting or closing access to a road is preferable to having to deal with people along the road. And also, undertaking the escort when there are no other people present is better than doing it when there are lots of bystanders and onlookers. Case-by-case factors. For individual escort assignments, always talk to the person or person to be escorted or their representative to identify like specific requirements, personal preferences, no threats and or troublemakers, previous incident involving escort of the person to the other venue of location. Kailangan kausapin mo yung guest or client mo at alamin mo kung ano yung tungkol sa kanya. Alamin mo yung mga specific requirements niya, personal preferences niya. Alamin mo din kung ano yung mga threats na natatanggap niya. At also, dapat alamin mo din yung mga previous incident niya para if ever na may mangyari, magkakaroon ka ng idea kung ano na yung gagawin mo. Never exceed your designated scope of authorities when making decision and or taking action with unique demands regarding escorting service provision. Dapat alam mo na kung ano ang magiging desisyon mo. Dapat kaya mong magdesisyon para sa sarili mo, para sa ni-escortan mo. Hindi yung parang hingi ng advice sa mga authorities kung kaya mo namang magdesisyon para sa tamang gagawin mo. Ensure all action taken comply with internal policies and procedure. Dapat lahat ng action mo comply sa mga internal policies and provision, hindi yung action ka na lang ng action na hindi naman dapat ginagawa. Never engage in illegal activities. Of course, hindi ka dapat nakiki-engage sa mga illegal activities like illegal tactics, use of illegal weapons, and assault. Dapat legal lahat. Yung ginagawa mo, legal yung mga weapons mo, legal yung mga tactics na ginagawa mo. That's all. Obtain assistance if required. You will always realize you are part of the team when you provide any escort duties. This section describes you may elect to call when performing escorting duties. You should feel free to call a help from others at any time. Kailangan, pag alam mo hindi mo na kaya, humingi ka na ng tulong para naman magkaroon ka ng backup if ever na may situation na mangyayari. In relation to provision of escort duties, this refers to 3 distinct stages. During the planning and preparation phase, dapat nakikipag-participate ka na during planning and preparation. While providing the actual escort to enhance service provision, assist with response to threats and attack. Dapat while you are escorting, you need to enhance your service provision, and also you must need assist our responses to threats and attacks. Dapat alam mo at dapat i-assist mo kung ano yung dapat i-response sa mga threats and attack na mangyayari. Kasi hindi, sa gaya ng sabi ko kanina, hindi naman pwedeng respond ka na lang ng respond ng threats na hindi naman pala dapat yun yung i-response mo. As part of the review stage following completing or finalizing of the assignment. Reason to obtain assistance. Assistance in relation to the provision of escort duties is beneficial for several reasons. It will help relieve you of sole responsibility. It provides a more diverse range of opinions and options for actions. It supplies a bigger pool of expertise and experience to draw from. It facilitates information sharing and also generates more and more informed intelligence to use as the basis for planning and decision making. Sources and type of assistance. There are 3 main sources of assistance. Help from other internal staff. This can be include other security staff, management, people and staff who have been part of similar escort duties in the past, marketing department to promote the level of security being provided without disclosing specific to deter offenders or attacks. Dito, sila yung mga pwedeng paghingan mo ng tulong o paghingan mo ng assistance. Assistance may cover suggestion for planning and action. Yung nag-a-assist sa'yo, sila yung pwede mong paghingan ng suggestion para sa mga planong gagawin mo or action na gagawin mo. information about previous escort assignment, makakahingi ka din ng information about sa mga previous escortan nila at mga assignments nila. Help with providing suitable staff. Advice regarding expected rate and travel levels, makakuha ka din ng advice sa kanila. Cooperation in closing certain areas. Support from an internal security company which may involve provision of card to support escort, provision of intelligence on local threats, contribution of suggestion for action and feedback on plans, arrangement for response to attacks and incidents. Of course, sa mga assistant mo, makakakuha ka ng support sa kanila from internal securities, just like the example I give. Gaya ng pag-a-arrange ng mga response for the attacks and incidents, magkakaroon sila ng contribution for suggestion para sa action at feedback na planuhin. Kakaroon din ng provision of intelligence on local threats and provision guard to support escort. Support from local authorities. This will commonly include liaison with police, fire and ambulance, and or civil defense. Tsaka makakuha ka din ng support for local authorities kasi 'di ba? Kailangan 'yan. For example, kapag may nangyaring pakikipaglaban or nasugatan, need mo ng ambulance para makapunta sa ospital. Need din ng police, fire, and other civil defense. Kasi hindi naman bawat oras kayang-kaya mong gawin yun. Need mo pa rin ng support from local authorities. This contribution assistance may relate to provision of update threats advice. Makakakuha ka ng update threats advice for your response, kung paano tama mong gawin pag nakatanggap ng threats yung client mo or guest mo. Tips on planning and strategies. Makakuha ka din ng tips sa pagpaplano and also the strategies. Feedback on plans. Provision of the physical presence on the day to assist with for example, traffic management, crowd control, and also dealing with criminal activities. And lastly, organization of response to identified issues and incidents. Perform close escort duties. From time to time, there can be a need to undertake close escort duties. Close escort duties are duties performed by bodyguard, also known as security escort or CPOs. CPOs is Close Protection Officer or tinatawag natin na bodyguard. Bodyguards may be venue employees with special skills. Venue staff who perform close escort duties would commonly have special training and accreditation in driving with a focus on defensive and evasive driving techniques. Of course, pag driver ka or escort ka, dapat may special training ka for driving para alam mo yung mga driving techniques and you know how to focus on defensive. Also, martial arts and close combat. As an escort, dapat alam mo yung mga alam mo kung paano makipaglaban. Alam mo dapat nag-training ka for martial arts and close combat. First aid, of course, dapat alam mo yan. And also, firearms. Dapat alam mo kung paano gumamit ng mga firearms. Alam mo kung ano yung tamang gagawin, kung paano to tamang gawitin. Kasi hindi naman pwede na hawak ka na lang ng firearms na wala ka namang special training. Provided by external security companies. Bodyguards may operate independently, cooperating with each other and other security staff. It is rare and potentially ineffective for bodyguards to operate alone. in conjunction with bodyguards who normally accompany the client, such as usual security staff and CPOs who accompany the person whenever they travel or make an appearance. In conjunction with local authorities and police, close escort can be required for VIPs, head of state, celebrities, sports stars, musician, and politician. Sila yung, of course, sila talaga yung kailangan ng close escort kasi nga, hindi mo, kasi tong mga to, sila yung mas madaming opportunity na mas madaming a-attack sa kanila, or example, madaming media na mag-e-interview sa kanila, need nila ng escort to protect them. Kasi hindi natin alam, sa sobrang dami ng media or crowd, may posibilidad doon na magtutulakan, mag-uunahan, para lang makakuha ng informasyon, need nila ng close escort. Gaya na din ng celebrities. For example, pupunta sila sa event. Of course, meron silang fans na pupunta. Kaya kailangan din nila ng close escort kasi nga, to protect them. Kasi sa mga fans nila, syempre, excited yung mga fans. Mag-uunahan sila para kumuha ng mga autographs, magpapapicture. May posibilidad din na mag-uunahan, magtutulakan. Kaya kailangan din ng close escort to protect them. Activities involved in providing close escort. Planning travel arrangement to and from the venue. Dapat na plano mo na yon habang papunta ka pa lang at pagdating mo, right? Parang like roads, the primary and secondary road, dapat na plano mo na yon kung saan ka dapat ruta dadaan. Means of transportation, decoy, security, itinerary. Dapat lahat yan na plano mo na bago pa lang papunta at pagkarating mo sa venue na yon. Planning movement within the venue. Dapat na plano mo na kung anong galaw yung gagawin mo pagkarating mo pa lang. At kapag nag-attend ka na sa meeting, appointments, meals, and other nominated engagement of activities, dapat na plano mo na kung anong movement yung gagawin. And also on departure mo. Driving duties including movement of person from, for example, airport to venue. Dapat inaalam mo na yung movement ng isang tao, yung client mo. Habang nasa airport pa lang siya papunta sa venue niya. Travel as required throughout their stay to local attraction, destination, engagement, and return, and also the travel departure. Dahil nga nasabi ko, dapat yung driving duties, alam niya na, siya na yung nakatoka doon para mag-protect for his client or her client. Mula pa lang sa pagsakay niya hanggang sa pagkababa niya. Physical inspecting, searching, and checking the electronic sweeping of rooms, venue facilities, and vehicles. Dapat, chine-check mo na yung rooms, venue, or yung vehicles kung safety ba. Kung walang mga bagay na hindi safe. For example, sa sasakyan, may problema pala, hindi mo chinek. Doon magkakaroon ng problema. Magkakaroon ng risk for your client or sa ini-escortan mo. Detect the neutralized bagging and other surveillance devices. Kailangan i-detect mo kung may at in-neutralize mo yung mga bagging and other surveillance devices. And also detect and defend against explosive devices. Dapat i-detect mo kung may mga explosive devices pa doon. And lastly, identify and respond to other threats. Dapat alam mong mag-identify ng mga threats and also alam mo din mag-respond ng mga threats. Undertaking background checks of people who will meet or to be in close proximity to the client. This may involve check on service staff, identified members of the public, suppliers and providers. Dapat background check mo sila para na din sa safety ng iyong client. Protection the client against identified and emergent threats such as intrusive media, unwanted people, stalkers, known person who are classified as threats. Dapat din, protektahan mo yung client mo against sa mga intrusive media, kaya nga nito, sinabi niya, unwanted people, stalkers, sila yung mga dapat mong iwasan at dapat siguraduhin mong protektado yung client mo sa mga to. Accompanying the client to provide a physical presence and give the client a sense of safety and security. Dapat siguraduhin mo at ipaintindi mo sa client mo na safe sila at secure sila. Hindi yung parang masyado silang kakabahan kasi yun nga, may mga threats na nangyayari. Dapat pag-anin mo yung loob nila at sabihin mo secure at safe sila. Present a visible deterrence to threats. Provide venue information and service as required. Dapat mag-provide ka ng information sa venue na yun kasi if ever man na mangyayari, may mga pagkukunan kayo ng information kung ano man ang nangyari at update doon. Respond to threats and incidents. Dapat, gaya nga ng sabi ko, dapat alam mo, dapat marunong ka mag-response sa mga threats and incidents na nangyayari. Kasi, of course, sa lahat ng nangyayari, dapat meron kang respond doon at information na masasabi kasi if ever man na may mga risk or attacks na mangyayari, meron kang at alam mo kung ano yung gagawin at sasabihin mo for authorities to gain information and update them. Communicate with other bodyguards, security staff, and agents and authorities. Gaya ng sabi ko, magipag-communicate ka sa mga bodyguards para magkaroon sila ng information, also the security staff, authorities, and other para naman if ever nga naman yung nangyari, alam nila kung ano yung nangyayari. Alam nila kung ano ba yung situation, kailangan mo makipag-communicate sa kanila or mag-update sa kanila. Facilitate movement within the venue and access to required areas. Clear the way. Monitor implementation of protection plans. Observe and note issues for immediate action and later follow up. Kailangan lahat ng facilitate o venue na pupuntahan mo, na-clear mo na yung way and also dapat na-monitor mo na at na-implement mo na yung mga planong mo for protection and safety ng client mo. And also, dapat mag-observe at note ka ng mga issues na nangyayari at dapat meron ka ng immediate action and follow-up doon. Facilitating the carrying of valuable items in the presence of or separate from the client, which will involve like participating in the planning process, routes, timing, equipment to be used, street analysis, physical accompanying those who are carrying the valuable items to afford a physical presence and deterrent value, clearing the way for those who are physically carrying the items, and lastly, overseeing the carriage of the items to ensure those involved move the items to where they are supposed to go according to the plans made and nothing is lost or stolen on the way. Kailangan yung mga valuable items at nakaseparate yun sa client mo para maiwasan yung pagnanakaw or maiwasan yung maiwasang mawala yung mga gamit na yun. Kasi nga, mahalagang bagay yun. Yun yung mga magkakaroon ng opportunity na nanakawin yun ng mga theft. Respond to threats. When a threat arises during an escort assignment, you are expected to respond according to predetermined protocols. Threats may be classified as identified. These are the threats identified as the part of the planning process. Risk identification, they may or may not translate materials into an actual threat. They are simply threats which might eventuate. Perceived threats. These refer to a set of conditions or circumstances which your instinct and observation, situational awareness, tells you could indicate an actual threat is imminent. Again, the perceived threats may not become an actual threat. Sign must be unusual activity or the presence of an unexpected number of people, a change of demeanor or people in an immediate vicinity, information received from other security, and lastly, changes to the physical environment which were not predicted or anticipated. Actual threats. This is the situation where something has been point on fact taken place which confirm danger and or offensive action by an offender is imminent from, for example, someone bursts through a cordon and lunges forward. You hear a sound which is cause of alarm. Kunyari, pagkabasag ng mga bagay. Yun yung, for example, ng actual threats. The sound of breaking glass, yun nga. Gunfire. Verbal abuse. A shouted warning. Action has occurred which jeopardize the safety of security of the client or valuable being escorted. For example, an attack is made on the client. An attempt is made to steal the valuable items. Yun yung example ng actual threats. For example, yung mga mag-a-attempt na nanakawin yung mga valuable items, ganun. The following apply when responding to threats. Protection of people must take priority over protection of property. Assets or valuable items always put the safety of people above the security of valuables. Dapat mas siguraduhin mo pa rin, mas unahin mo pa rin yung secure ng yung client kaysa sa valuable items. Kasi yung sabi nga nung una, yung mga items na papalitan pero yung buhay hindi. You do not have unlimited authority to take action. You are not a police officer and do not have the same right as the police officer. Dapat yung action mo limited lang, hindi yung action ka ng action, hindi naman pala na legal sa yun na parang ginagawa ng police dahil hindi ka police. You're an escort. Follow established house procedure for responses. This can be expected to address complying with demands made by attackers and thieves, complying promptly and not attempting to stall or delay the offenders, refraining from physical confrontation unless this is forced onto you. This embraces not being a hero, not arguing with offenders, not making threatening moves and gestures, not staring at them, speaking only when spoken to, advises the offender if you need to do something or take some action which may alarm, surprise, or confuse them. Taking action to ensure the safety of others in the area. Dapat mag-take ka ng action para masiguro mo yung safety ng iba dun sa area na yon or sa venue na yon. Noting description of perpetrators. Activating alarms only when safe to do. Dapat mag-activate ka ng alarms pag alam mong dapat mo nang gawin. Not pursuing offenders when they have left, calling for assistance internally and externally when safe to do. Dapat tumawag ka na ng assistance kung kailangan na, kung alam mo yun na yung makakabuti at yun na yung pinaka-safest na gagawin mo. Relaying relevant information to others regarding to incident or attack. Dapat mag-rely ka ng mga relevant information regarding sa mga incident or attack na nangyayari. Securing the scene after the incident by not touching anything and ensuring no one else touches anything. Dapat siguraduhin mong secure pa rin yung scene na pangyarihan ng incident. Siguraduhin mong walang nagalaw doon na kahit anong bagay. Dahil if ever man na may isang nakatouch doon, magkakaroon din ng conflict at yung information para makuha at malaman kung sino man yung attackers na nandun, mahirapan na silang hanapin because of the fingerprint. Hindi nila malalaman agad kung sino yun if ever man na may nakatouch. Kaya dapat i-secure mo na walang nakapunta doon at i-secure mo yung scene na doon na yon kung saan man na nangyarihan yung incident. Requesting members of the public to remain and talk to authorities. Dapat mag-request ka of member of public para makagain ng information, para makausap mo sila kung sino man yung nandun, para magbigay ng statement sa authorities. Pero, guests are not obligated to do this. Hindi nila obligasyon na gawin yun. Kung ayaw man nila, hindi mo sila dapat pilitin dahil nga hindi nila obligasyon na gawin yun. Asking those present to make witness statement. Once again, they are not compelled to do this. Pwede kang sa kanila kung gusto nilang magsabi ng statement as a witness. Pero kung ayaw nila, hindi mo dapat pilitin kasi nga they are not obligated na gawin yun. Not allowing person to enter the area after the incident. Of course, hindi nga pwedeng pumunta yung ibang tao doon at pumasok doon kasi nga kailangan mong ensure na lahat ng bagay na nandun or walang naka-touch. Kasi nga, habang nag-investigate ka, magkakaroon nyo ng conflict. Not talking to the media about the incidents or giving them access to the scene. Hindi pwedeng ikwento mo sa kanila kung ano yung nangyari mismo. Kasi if ever na nakatakas yung attackers or suspect, magkakaroon siya ng idea kapag napanood niya yung balitang yon. Participating in internal investigation and these briefings. Kailangan mo ding mag-participate sa internal investigation na yon para magkaroon na yung authorities ng information tungkol sa incident na yon. Next, complete necessary documentation. The provision of escort duties will normally require completion of relevant documentation. This section lists documents which may need to be completed. Standard information about completing documentation. Requirements relating to completing necessary document will vary between venues. In relation to completing relevant documentation, the following generally applies. Complete it as soon as possible after the work has been finalized or as soon as possible after an incident or event has occurred. Fill in all parts of elements of the form to be completed. When completing documents, may be honest. Kailangan dapat honest ka sa pag-fill up ng documents na yon kasi mahahalagang bagay yon. Doon sila kukuha ng informasyon para doon. Never and verb occurrence is word. Spoken action taken observation made. Yun nga. Dapat maging honest ka. Accurate. There is a need to capture to the best extent possible what actually occurred. Pay special attention to the things such as dates, times, number, statistics, amount, values, registration number of vehicles, physical appearance, and what people say and words. Dapat magkaroon ka ng special attention for that kasi mahalaga yan. Mahalaga yan para sa mga information na idadagdag. Kasi hindi naman pwede na magbibigay ka na lang ng date, ng time, ng mga information na hindi naman totoo. Kailangan totoo yun at alam mong yun talaga. Comprehensive. It is best to provide too much information than to risk committing the one-factor piece of information which solve the case. Sure to distinguish known fact from opinion, belief, or perception. If you think it is absolutely necessary to include something which is the result of your intuition, make sure is flagged as such. Completed documentation need to be forwarded. There is always a need to file a form or hand it into the designated person or department. Dapat yung document na yon, yung kompletong document na yon, kailangan mong i-forward sa mga designated person or department. In-house or on-job training will teach you the document to be completed, how they need to be completed. Tuturuan ka nila kung paano kumpletuhin yung mga documents na yon at ipapaintindi nila kung bakit kailangan yung document na yon ay kompleto. Keep a copy of any records or report you complete for your own records and propose after the event. Of course, kailangan may copy ka doon sa record na yon kasi importante yon. And lastly, seek advice when uncertain about whether a record or report or documentation is required and details and information required. Sample documents. The documents to be completed will vary depending on whether the assignment was successful and without incident or if an incident occurred. Documents we may need to be completed include assignment job sheet completed at the end of the allocated assignment to confirm the assignment was completed. Yun nga, para malaman or makonfirm nila if na-complete mo yung assignment mo as an escort. Verify staff who complete the work para din ma-verify nila kung sino yung staff na na-complete yung work na yon. Show the time taken, resources used, the date of the task. Doon din nila malalaman kung ano yung time and resources na na-use mo sa task mo na yun. Also, doon din nila malalaman yung date. Indicate any problems or issues with the work performed. Doon din nila malalaman kung ano yung problems and issues mo habang pine-perform mo yung work na yun. Of lading or similar documents which are necessary to prove the valuables by description and number being escorted were handed over to as appropriate another person or company, another venue, and a transport provider. Relieve the venue of obligation from the time the bill of lading was signed by the other party. Insure claims which need to be completed whenever a claim is made against an insurance policy held by the venue. You will normally be required to provide supporting information for your supervisor to complete this form, and they will ask you for details regarding the incident giving to rise to wherever caused the need for a claim to be luggage. Facts, dates, time, and specific information about the event or incident, details of the item or items stolen or damaged and or injured sustained, preventative action taken and avoid the incident, response taken after the event. Of course, sa mga documents na yan, diyan sila kukuha ng informasyon about sa work mo na yun, kung ano man yung mga nangyari. Doon nila malalaman at kakalap ng mga informasyon. Internal security request forms. These are completed when a new or modified risk or threat is identified as part of the activities involved in discharging other escort duties. To request changes to established plans, more or different resources, modification or addition to existing SOPs and policies. Security lodgement forms. These are forms which may have been completed by guests or clients who lodge items for safekeeping with the venue, and by when you lodge guest or client or venue valuables with a third-party provider such as a bank or an external security company for safekeeping. Ito yung mga guests na kailangan nilang isigurado o isecure yung safety ng kanilang items. Items issued or items release form. These forms record the transfer of items from the venue to the rightful owners, detailing time and date of the transaction. Of course, kailangan alam nila kung ano yung time at date ng transaction nila. Description of the item or items. Kailangan din alam nila kung ano yung items, para dapat merong description para alam nila kung ano yung items na iniwan nila. Proof of ownership used to confirm legitimate ownership. Kailangan din may proof of ownership nila para masigurado na sa kanila talaga yung item na yon kapag i-release na. Kasi baka kunyari nagpapanggap lang sila na sa kanila yon, wala na, hindi mo na makukuha. Signature and name of person whom the item was released. Kailangan din ng signature para malaman kung na-release na talaga, and also para malaman kung sa kanila talaga yon. Signature and name of staff who release. Also, kailangan din ng signature ng staff na nag-release nun para malaman kung sino yung nag-release ng items na yon. Security threat reports incorporating suspicious person report completed at the end of the shift to communicate situations which are believed to give rise to a new or modified threats, communicate updates, evidence related to established or identified threats, give details or suspicious person and suspicious activity. Kailangan alam mo kung ano yung mga suspicious na nangyayari. Kailangan may report ka sa mga situation na nangyayari, or alam mong i-modify yung mga threats. Dapat nakikipag-communicate ka for updates para sa evident din yun. Makakadagdag for the evident and also for the information para ma-identify mo yung mga threats or yung mga suspicious person na involved. Incident report to record details relating to an incident which has occurred in the venue. Kailangan mo din mag-record sa mga incident. Kasi nga, sabi ko kanina, dagdag evidence and also information din yon. Witness statement taken when members of the public are prepared to make a statement regarding when they are observed when an event, incident, or offense took place. Sa documents na doon mo din ilalagay yung mga witness statement and other details na related sa incident na yon dahil importante yon para sa pagkakalap mo ng informasyon and also dagdag din sa observation yon tungkol sa event and incident na nangyari sa isang lugar. Recommendation for action. This is the form allowing staff to formally convey suggestions and ideas for issues such as change of SOPs, introduction of new SOPs, replacement of items, disposal of faulty or damaged equipment, purchase of new and different items and equipment. Bank documentation. This covers documents generated by both the venue and the bank in relation to transactions between them in respect of issues such as deposit for safekeeping, payments and deposit of cash, change, foreign currencies, and travel checks. Also, need din yung mga back documentation na yan. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.